Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up.
A place where we inform.
Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
You gotta eat what you kill. You gotta go out there, you gotta hunt for your meals.
We all have that ability to connect with people, to be that motivational person in somebody's life.
You gotta let people know there's certain lines you don't cross, and that there's gonna be consequences if you do.
Man up.
If you are an adult and you are in a relationship, that person's emotions are not your responsibility.
Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
The devil, during slavery, destroyed the masculinity or manhood of the so-called Negro. No man. No man. Right now you got to be trained all over again to be a man.
When someone is obligated to do something, it is binding upon them to do it. And failure to do it causes reaction.
Man up.
Position make you rich. I don't have that type of richness. My richness is life forever.
If that people knew that glorious path, if that people knew that glorious path, if that people knew that glorious path, then they would be more inclined to respect themselves.
I'm not saying I'm going to rule the world or I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world. And that's our job, is to spark somebody else watching us.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up.
A place where we inform.
Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
You want to tell me about yourself? Go get your friends. I'll tell you who you are based on who your friends are.
Don't just live and die. That's an ugly existence. Make your life matter, make your life count. Live a life where people can actually mourn you for the things you left behind, not just because you were around and existed.
We need strong black nuclear family.
Yes. Yes.
That's what it is. Mother, father, son, daughter, all in the same house with a focus on the family unit as a whole.
We had Tulsa, Atlanta, New Jersey, Detroit. We had Rosewood. We had Black Wall Streets all over.
The Republicans aren't for us, but the Democrats aren't for us either. And we should have no alliance to any political party. We only have alliance to what is in our own best interest.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up.
A place where we inform.
Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
At the end of the day, as men in the community, we must stand together and be counted, because people look to us for guidance, leadership, and protection. And if we are not about that business, we are not on our job. Here we have grown-ass man conversations in the spirit of that purpose. Anthony Malcolm, Bobby Drake, Major Gage. We are. This is Manifestations 2020.
Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
Yeah, this your boy Major Gage in the building with my man Anthony Malcolm and my man Bobby Drake. We in the building. We are live. We are Manifestations 2020. What's good? Yeah. What's good? Yeah. Yeah. I'm feeling good tonight, man. I'm feeling good. We ready to get into it out here, y'all. We ready to get into it.
All right.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Let's go ahead and say some salutations real quick. Just Bobby, and what y'all got to say before we get into the business. What's up?
Man,
greetings, man.
Yeah, just shout out to everybody out there, man. That's just, we made it halfway through the year. I know it's a lot of craziness out there, going through the last bit of Men's Mental Health Month. So I know all the fellas out there, man, y'all stay positive. I just joined the men's mental health group on Facebook, man. Oh gosh, geez, I really have to limit myself going in there because it's heavy. It's heavy. I didn't know that there was a lot of brothers out here suffering like that in silence. And it's kind of like a men's barbershop in there because there's a lot of brothers in there just pouring into each other. But you'll be surprised, man. It's a lot of successful brothers out here that are hanging on by the thread, man. And it's good to see that they have a support system, yo. So I thought that was super dope. So I'll definitely maintain, go in there and give these guys some added boost of encouragement and self-esteem, and just do kind of my part, and I can do it, try to help maintain the mindset of some of these individuals, man, because you got some of them that's on the brinks of just calling it quits, but you have some guys that's in there and they're like, man, this group really helped me out, thanks brothers. So yeah, definitely shout out to y'all, keep y'all heads up.
Bet that up. Okay, well said.
Super necessary, man.
Positive, yes, sir. Bobby Drake, what's cracking?
Yeah, man, it's a beautiful day in the Manversations Hood. That's all I know.
Real talk.
Good.
Yes.
I know we jumping into July, man, but it didn't actually click in my head until you mentioned it just now. But we are officially, give or take 24 hours, halfway through the year. So just that quickly, we hopped in 2025, and it's almost last call. So all I can say is, whatever it is that you thought that you was going to get accomplished or done this year, maybe you started things off on a high note and things just tapered down, or maybe you just started off in a funk. Whatever the case may be, man, you got 6 more months. 6 more months to salvage the year and make something shake, man. And, 6 months, that can go in a blink of an eye, or that could be a whole lifetime, depending on how you spend it and use it. So I'm encouraging everybody to generate all your energies and focus. If you had a rough start, it's the second half of the game, and it's a brand new ball game. Go make something happen. If you start off strong, keep up the momentum. You were already on fire. You was on track to hitting a triple-double. Man, go ahead and close out with a quadruple-double. Ball.
Yeah,
you can do what it do, man.
You got to do it, man. You got to do it, and that's great insight. A lot of people out here, we make excuses about why we're not doing what we're not doing, and I'm gonna get to it, man. Just do it. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. And the only place to start is at the beginning. So, like at the end of the day, sometimes it's just taking that first step to get you on the road to get you where you got to go. So that's what it is, man. I shout you out, man. I shout y'all brothers out. Y'all kill it as always. As far as this week's show was something that I just felt was very necessary, for the simple fact that when you're on the internet and you're just scrolling, you don't know what the hell is going to pop up on your thread. And sometimes you're not prepared for all this shit. Like Anthony said, like he joined the group and it's like, damn, this shit is heavy. Okay, cool. But you joined that group. You were looking for that. Sometimes when you're on the internet and you're scrolling, you just see horrific things. And you didn't ask for it. You just woke up in the morning, you know what I'm saying? And you get ready to go check your email. You're ready to go get your coffee before you go to work, whatever the case may be. And you just scroll and you like, damn. And sometimes you see something that'll destroy your whole day. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of what I wanted to speak to this week, because it's like we're surrounded by trauma. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of where I'm going with this, man. And so I wanted to kind of start the show off a little unorthodox and go with the question of the day first. You know what I'm saying? I really wanted to do that because I think that it's important. And the question of the day for me this week is, how do we avoid internet trauma. Now, you know, people don't really understand internet trauma like that. They don't, you know, recognize internet trauma to be a thing, but it is. You know what I'm saying? And we see this type of stuff every day. I'm going to give you a couple of examples real quick, and then we can talk about them. You tell me how you feel about this. I mean, this is one that this drove me up the wall. You know what I'm saying? But y'all got to check this out.
The video that's going viral of me, the healthcare worker that's dancing on top of her patient's head, is not what it is. Trust and believe. All I gotta say for now is angles play a big part, but we're gonna get into that another time. Okay? A lot of people in the comments talking about sex, just all type of dumb, non-verbal. Trust and believe, he's verbal, and if he's not verbal to his kins, then I don't know what's going on over there. But around here, he be verbal, and I got proof. What you say?
I'll get my hug.
You want to get a hug?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, no.
He looks very aware and comfortable to me, so y'all need to stop jumping to conclusions. Even though, yeah, I do see how he look, but trust me, it's not that. Enough is enough. Stay tuned.
So, you know, we start off there, and of course, you know, we end up here. A woman allegedly recorded herself provocatively dancing on disabled person's head. And, you know, this is where she ended up. She was arrested, and rightfully so. And what I found most telling about that clip is she's talking about, you know, they're talking about how they supposedly saw me dancing on my mental patient's head or whatever, and that's not what it is. She's saying it in air quotes, like it's something they made up. It's not something that's verifiable. It's not something that we can see. We see you with our own two eyes. We saw you do it, and you're telling us that it's not what it is. And if dancing like that is not a sexualized thing in some capacity, then what is it? Why do you think they arrested your dumb ass? You understand what I'm saying? Like, this is the type of nonsense. Again, the horrors of internet nonsense. You just scrolling down your thread and you see this buffoon. Basically, some people feel like she's sexually assaulting this person, because the thing is, if you're mentally ill, a lot of people feel as though that there are different degrees of mental illness, but a lot of people feel as though 9 times out of 10 or more often than not, you're not able to consent to certain things because you're mentally ill. And people are entrusting you with, you know, being able to care for a person that is disabled in this capacity. And this is what you make of it. And I got to see that on my way to work. You know what I'm saying? It's just, it's a mental sickness. This attention whoring. It's ridiculous. It's offensive. And I mean, this young lady's probably destroyed her entire life. And, you know, it's really reaching a fever pitch to me when we're starting to see mental health care professionals, people who are supposedly experts in some capacity to help and assist the mentally ill behaving in a mentally ill capacity. It just makes my head explode. What y'all saying? Talk to me, man. Talk to me.
Is that the same girl? Mm-hmm. She went from model to Muppet. Yeah,
quick. She's hideous.
Yeah. The thing about it is, a lot of people are selling themselves. They're selling their morals. They're selling their respect, their decency, and even shaming their family tree by this whole thing of going viral, because we have now been compensated to act like jackasses. So The more you act like jackass, the more you come with a paycheck, just like the dancing gorilla. Mm-hmm. You know, and now I've seen this African family that throws hot food on the table and eat it with their hands. They went from 10,000 followers to over 1.5 million. So we get like, it's a degeneracy is getting paid off. Like you get paid to do the more degenerate and wild obscene shit that you normally shouldn't be doing. But because it comes with a paycheck, then you actually go down that rabbit hole with it. And another thing that a lot of women don't understand is, you know, I see a lot of women, they talk about how, you know, they say one thing and then contradict themselves on another. Like they'll talk about, I talked about this with their sons. They'll sit back and say, oh, men don't go out here and be chivalrous. But while the son is under your house, you are grooming him to be a man. When he's out there having these birthday parties, or he has crushes at his school and he's asking you, hey, mom, I want to buy her some flowers. You could easily buy $5 flowers off the side of the road, get a little stuffed teddy bear, another $5, and a little balloon, that's another $5, and have him go and present that to a girl and show him and mold him in a chivalrous way, you know, but y'all don't do that. But then you complain about the results when you say, I'm not spending my hard-earned money on no hussy. And you're telling that to your teenage son. So he grows up like, if my mom tells me that she ain't spending no money on these women, I'm going to grow up with the same mentality. So even when these women grow up, every time they see something like that, they'll have a big issue with it. But yet they only have an issue with it when it hits their own family tree. Like if that was her father, and another girl was dancing on her father, she would have the same backlash that everybody's having for her. But because it's her, she don't see it like that. She don't see the problem because she doesn't have an emotional connection or a family connection with that person. He's only there for a paycheck. So she's only there for a paycheck, and then she's getting a paycheck by going viral on that moment. And now it landed your ass up in jail. And now you see that reality sets in for your jankiness, because see, people are telling you things and you ignore it. Like she was out there, oh, it's no big deal, and other air quotes. Now your ass up in fucking jail, air quoting for a meal. And I am playing on that. Ain't that something?
Bobby, you see that? You see that crazy shit? What you saying, bro? What you saying? That's what I said too. Whoo!
Really almost got to get loaded before you even sign into your social media these days.
Yeah.
You're right, man. You're right. Woof. You know, I say this, I used to say it jokingly, and now every day I say it, I'm more serious than the last time I was.
Yeah.
When we were in grade school, in public education system, the public education system had, for all of its flaws and holes and faults, it had an excellent concept. It had the vision and the foresight, recognizing the different educational needs of the general body of students placed in its care.
Yeah.
Enough to recognize that we have different kinds of students. And we are not all going to be able to get a beneficial, valuable experience here in this educational facility if everybody's all together. So we're going to have the classrooms for the special children, ones with special needs. Maybe they have intellectual disabilities, maybe they have behavioral disabilities, maybe they have physical handicaps, whatever the case may be, but it would not be in their best interest to be learning in a general environment with everyone else. So we're going to have their special designated section over here.
Yeah.
Then we're going to have over here the gifted population, the students who have a very high intelligence. They pick up things very quickly. They're typically ahead of the regular average student or whatever. Putting them in a regular, general, generic educational system is not going to do them any benefit. They're going to be bored. They're not going to be challenged. They're either going to start regressing to fit in with the people that they're around, or they're going to completely slack off or have all kinds of behavior problems because they're basically wilding out. We need special curriculum and a special section just for them where they can have a quality education at their level.
Yeah.
And then right smack dab in the middle, you have your regular, general, generic educational level where you have your regular, general populations. So most of your student population is going to fit into.
Yeah.
They're not too low, they're not too high, they're right in between, and the regular standard curriculum will meet their needs just fine. They understood in the public education system that these three groups shouldn't be together because it's not in their best interest.
Facts.
At some point, everybody graduated or aged out, whichever the case may be. And somehow the rest of the world seemed to think that these same rules, the same system that worked relatively okay, wasn't perfect, but it had a pretty good success rate back in grade school. For some reason, they thought, well, now that they're adults, surely that's no longer going to be a necessary thing, right? Wrong. Oh my God, dead wrong. No.
Yeah.
If anything, I would argue we need that segregation more than we ever have. And
Right.
social media is exactly the justification for that. If you want to know what it would look like if we had everyone lumped up together in all these schools, social media. This is it. This is it. The only social media network that probably doesn't have to deal with that is LinkedIn. That's because it's strictly focused on business and networking for that purpose. And I'm sure even within there's some wrinkles, but
yeah,
again, everything else, Twitter, X, whatever it wants to be today, Facebook, MySpace if it's still alive, Blackspace if it's still breathing, Mi Gente for the Latinos if it's still around, all these other social media networks, no, it is bedlam and anarchy. And what you just saw is a perfect example of some of the nonsense that's on there. Now, of course, granted, you can have some wonderful things that are present on there if you know how to tune into and everything else, like anything else in life. But unfortunately, the lion's share of what you see on social media is pure nonsense.
Facts. And that is where we are. And, you know, again, you know, like I said, internet trauma. People do not understand that it is a real thing. It is an actual thing. I'll explain it to you. Okay. Internet trauma refers to the psychological distress and negative mental health impacts that can result from experiencing traumatic events or situations online. This can include direct exposure to violent content, online harassment, or vicarious trauma from witnessing distressing events experienced by others online. The constant, accessible nature of the internet can amplify the effects of trauma, leading to symptoms similar to post-traumatic stress disorder. So people are telling you, you know, internet trauma has symptoms that are very much like PTSD, which we all know is a very serious thing. This is not a game, man. Like, there are days where I literally have to just log off for a minute and just kind of, you know, just kick back because it's so much. And I'll give you another example. I want to stay in keeping with the type of discussion that we were just having, because this whole, you know, embrace of thought culture, the rise of that is informing a lot of this. We're going to talk about that a little bit, then we're going to switch gears. But I also want to talk about these, you know, this girl right here, Amaya Cunningham. She was ran over and killed by her own friend while twerking in front of a car in Atlanta. Okay? This happened to somebody, man. You know, and you know, someone asked me a few weeks ago, did you hear about the girl who got ran over, you know, because she was twerking? And the response was crazy because I asked her which one.
Which one?
Not to be upstaged, of course, by, you know, Nyla Simmons, 18-year-old dancing on top of an SUV who died because she fell off of the SUV and got hit by a fire truck. These things happened, and it's part of this embrace of thought culture. What does Glorilla say in her song? Twerking on them headlights, right? And now you got two young black women who just died from twerking on them headlights. Nigga shit. You understand? And people wonder why I get so fired up and I get so enraged when I start talking about the embrace of thought culture, when I start talking about the embrace of nigga culture, because it literally kills people. Literally. I just showed you. You know, you don't need to be in the street twerking on no headlights the same way Glorilla did in her video for any reason. It's low class. It's low energy. It's not attractive, but you have young women just doing it every time you turn around. They're tooting their ass up at somebody's camera trying to be seen. You understand? And this, this is the problem. This is the issue. I mean, it's one issue of many. There are more we're going to talk about, but it's more internet nonsense. My mom is on the internet. Your moms are on the internet. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure on any given day, based on how the algorithm sends stuff to you, you scrolling, you're gonna see these horrible stories. You're gonna hear that song by Glorilla or Sexy Red or whoever else is out here promoting that agenda to our young women. And they're so infected by white feminism that when you say something to them about it, oh, well, she just having fun. She just being free. Leave her alone. Don't judge her. Nigga, look at the harm what she's doing is causing. And I parked the Chevy. What y'all saying, man? Talk to me. Because this is going on, bro. Talk to me.
Yeah, that, gosh, I really don't have much to say on that because it's stupidity. There's different levels of legacy. I think we don't talk about that. That's the hidden elephant in the room. Right. There's different levels of legacy. You can be known throughout domestically and globally from your accomplishments. Like we know about the achievements of George Washington. George Washington Carver. Is that his name? Carver. We know about the achievements of John Horse. We know about the achievements of Harriet Tubman. Those are legacy achievements, right? And then you have people that are out here on another legacy that is the hood legacy. Like they're only known in the hood. Like, you know what I'm saying? So you would always say, yeah, man, he's a legend in the hood, but he's not a legend out here doing no other shit. He's a legend in the hood for fixing up cars, or he's a legend in the hood for banging the most chicks. That's where his legacy lies. It's not nothing that is that potentially can prosper and grow other people to inspire them to do great things. So when you have a lot of low-level energy people, their whole excitement and notoriety comes from the hood. So doing stuff like popping ass on a car is going to be a living story throughout that hood. It's not going to be something you're going to be acknowledged from state to state as something that's good that you did, like open up a school or a daycare or anything like that, or even a mental health facility in your neighborhood. So when you have people with that low energy that's out here thinking like that, they do stupid shit like that because they live in that limited space, that limited moment, and that limited legacy. I just don't have time for stuff like that. And another thing that I like that people say a lot that I really don't like is the fact that they talk about this algorithm. A lot of there is some form of algorithm in it, but let's be honest. Every woman I know, for the majority, whether they got a college degree or they're a hood rat, everybody's showing their ass and puss in front of the guy. So it really is there is no algorithm in that. That is a culture of the women out here trying to promote and get followers. And it becomes to seem like an algorithm. Even if you're a man and you got your girl, and the minute you open up your Instagram, it's some ass and cooch, and your girl happen to look over there and be like, hey, what you over here following? No, that's what it is. It doesn't matter who it is. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
I'm married, bruh. Yeah. That I be trying to, bruh. I didn't do nothing. Shit.
I land my plane on that, man.
Facts. Bobby Drake. Man. Talk to me, man.
Look, you got him dancing out here. I saw a video earlier today of some woman in Miami. Yeah. They had I think the Brickell Bridge going up, and somehow she ended up out there or whatever. She's at the top, she's at the middle of the bridge is tipping up. You see her hanging on for dear life, and she drops that whole distance down. And according to the bridge tender, apparently she was masturbating up there or whatever.
What?
You got this nonsense.
Wow.
And then I saw a clip earlier today from that Karamo show. I don't know what the context, what the backstory to it is, but apparently this dude is on there and he's confronting some guys because apparently they was running a Thomas the Tank Engine on his mom, and I think it had been recorded or something, and it got leaked. And so I guess trying to have a heart-to-heart with him. He was traumatized behind it, whatever. They're trying to, I guess, smooth it. I don't know what the case may be is, but again, these actions, this I don't even know if it's reckless. This mental illness or this bend towards dysfunction, and then the promotion of it, or rather the projection of it, putting it out there to be seen. We have to at some point we have to be honest and see this is the real issue. When people lose their backbone and their spinal cord and decide to be jelly bat.
I talk about them all the time.
Because I'm not going to pretend and act ignorant like this did, like we never had things like this happen before. We have had things like people dancing on vehicles and stuff like this or whatever, doing risky things, and then they catching backlash for it or harming themselves or blows in the face. We have had this in the past. The problem is people used to actually get shamed for it.
That too, yeah.
The general consensus for as bad as society may have been, all the ills that may have been present at that time,
yeah,
you did something stupid like this, it was virtually a unanimous consensus that, yeah, that's what your dumb ass get. There was no sympathy for it. There was no compassion for it.
Right.
And if there was any, it was in the form of a call to 911 saying, hey, we need a Baker Act out here. There's someone that needs a 72-hour hold. They're clearly not within the right state of mind. And they get themselves strapped to a gurney and put in a rubber padded room, or they get tied down in the ICU somewhere if there was no rubber room, according to that. And after the psychiatric evaluation, once they determine that they're not a danger to themselves or others, then they get sent their merry way. And hopefully they learn the lesson from that. And, that would be a case where it's like, okay, ain't gonna do that again. The problem is we are now in an era in a society where people are not only rewarded for the nonsense, they get an instant dopamine hit. They get likes, they get views, they get comments.
Yeah. They
can monetize their actions or whatever. They can get brought up as guests on people's shows or podcasts or whatever. There's a case in point right there.
No talent.
There's not only an instant pleasure reward for it, an instant dopamine hit, dopamine rush, but there's also a mid to even in some cases a long-term benefit to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the problem. And in addition to that, as if that wasn't bad enough, you have a whole ready phalanx of idiots and dummies ready to go ahead and have their back and say, but they didn't know with that, they just being free. Why can't we let people do that? They is not hurting anybody. What's that problem? So literally, you find yourself being circled by M1 Abrams tanks, loaded for bear, and you got your hands and your feet tied behind your back. You can't probably fight back against it. How do you overcome this? So it's monetized. They're getting pleasure. They're getting attention. You're basically giving them a whole dopamine, a whole drug rush right there. They may as well be doing heroin for all intents and benefits. We need people to start standing up. And when they see this nonsense, say, hey, this ain't right. This ain't the wave. And it doesn't matter how many people say you're wrong or you need to mind your own business or all the other shaming language. No. Principle is principle. It looks like a frog. I'm going to call it a frog. I don't care what you tell me it's a platypus. It's a frog.
Facts.
I looked at Wikipedia. I looked at AI. I asked Siri, meets all the criteria for a frog. Hot damn it, it's a frog.
That's a great segue actually into the next topic because I want you to see this. This is big.
Do I want to see this is the question, but go ahead. that's my question. You want to? Do I want to?
Hey, look, man, it is what it is. I gotta tell the truth.
We do it for the people. Go ahead, man.
The street said it, bro. Hold on.
Better buy a
Good Lord. Hold on.
You better buy a leash if you don't want him here no more because he's always running to me. Bye, boo.
Sorry, the volume went down. Let me
Hey,
start that.
Laquifa, looks like your baby daddy ended up at my crib again. You better buy a leash if you don't want him here no more because he's always running to me. Bye, boo.
Come sharking with me, y'all. The ninjas is outside. Ooh, y'all, look at him.
What's up?
He is so fine, y'all.
Y'all, it's 1:43 in the morning. Me and my bestie finna sneak out for this little 2-minute. Shh.
We really out here. Y'all, they better be fine.
Step 1, don't be dumb like me and glue your eyeballs shut. Use the damn mirror, not your front cam. Step 2, pray. These tweezers do not got my back today. Hey, hold up. PERAD. That's 1 cluster down, 39 to go. I'm basically a licensed esthetician now. Y'all see the vision? I look like a tired fairy, a sexy one.
Y'all all L, look at me. I did that. Don't ask me to do them again. I was fighting for my damn life, but I did that.
You cut off your friend for missing your birthday dinner, but not the man who forgot your birthday?
So
I tap out. That last one was too much.
Hey, man. But the crazy thing, you know what I'm saying, as lowbrow as some of that stuff is and as quote unquote harmless as a lot of that stuff may seem, you know what's the worst and craziest thing about that? The worst and craziest thing about all those clips.
Go ahead.
That shit was all AI.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That shit was all AI, bro. If y'all didn't know, I'm here to tell you. All that shit was AI. So in addition to the Sambos and Coons that we got out there right now, we got a whole new crop of Sambos and Coons that don't even exist. And they can be more extreme because they don't even have to worry about shame. You understand what I'm saying? These are this is the mark of the beast, nigga. Goddamn. Like, yo, when you can take people and you can just project their stereotypes and trigger people online and get people in a tizzy and all that type of shit, and you don't even have to show your face, that is very dangerous. That is extremely dangerous. This right here is one of the scariest things that we're going to discuss on today's show, bro. This is going to have really tragic ramifications. The fact that AI is so advanced now that, you know, they don't even have to do skits no more. They can just get the AI people. You know, there's some of these clout chasing assholes online, bro, that do all these skits because they just want to trigger people. They just want to see what people going to say. They just want to get a lot of follows and a lot of likes and all this social. They just want to stir up shit. You understand? Imagine that person isn't even black. That person hates black people, but they're not even black. And they can use this app to make black people look so fucked up and put it out there for the world to see, and it's not even real. Bruh, I am fit to be tied right now. What y'all got? Talk to me, man. Is it me? Am I tripping? I think that's extremely dangerous, and I'm worried about.
When I found out about it, it really is disappointing to me because a lot of people don't understand that this AI takeover is going to be so detrimental to Black folks. Oh yeah, and we're laughing and we're joking about it now. Mm-hmm. But in the long run, AI is going to really fuck over Black folks. Mm-hmm. And this is one of the reasons why I tell people all the time, as Black folks, we need to start building. We need to start building more infrastructure, more institutions and things like that. Because when we do that, we can basically shun out this type of fuckery. When we establish our own shit, our own networks, our own internets, everything like that, we can pretty much shun that type of shit out. When you look at China, how they have their Instagram versus our Instagram day and night. They have, if you don't post positive things on China's Instagram, it won't come up in the algorithm. It's actually shadow banned. If if you have degenerate shit, because they don't promote that negative shit in their country, because they understand that that propaganda can be very destructive. In America, it's the opposite. All the good stuff that's out here, all the people that talk like us, the people that are out here producing great stuff for the people, we get shadow banned. All the fuckery gets promoted and penetrates through your algorithms, so you can see it over and over and over again. I just saw a clip. I'm not sure if I sent it to you guys, but a white guy came out and he said basically what we knew for years. The white guy says the CIA runs the damn hip hop, right?
Oh yeah,
runs the hip hop. Buys. They got 22 artists that they got. They got artists in different countries that they promote with. I think it's called I Said government funding or things like that they use to basically start up these rappers. You know what I'm saying? And have these rappers promote degenerate shit like that, so that the brainwashedness of it can be seeped into our communities and into our children and young adults. And that's why we have so much chaos going out there. The same money could be applied to promoting great stuff, and you would have the opposite of it. But what I tell people all the time is when you look at the propaganda, the number one motive of the people running the world is population control. So as much as you got wars, you know, they having these vaccines and I shouldn't have said that because I didn't want to strike on the damn YouTube. But as long as you got this, the wars, the things about the food, and shout out to what's his name? The dude, what's the Muslim dude, the young dude now?
Zuri Muhammad?
No,
Nuri?
The young dude. Huh?
Rizza Islam, Nuri Muhammad.
Islam.
Yeah.
Shout out to Rizza Islam, man. They are doing wonderful things out there. You black women know that your pads and your bras are causing cancer. So Islam created a natural pad for women that doesn't have harmful chemicals, man. Peace pads, yes. Shout out to him for doing that. See, those are the type of things that we need to promote and get out here and let the people know, because the algorithm is going to block it. They're going to shadow ban. He's always been shadow banned. And then also all these big major stores, like he went up into CVS during the commercial and said all of these stores are not carrying it. So go to his specific website and you women can get a now safer product that when you're bleeding, it can go out onto the product and not have chemicals go and flow through your body that causes cancer. Because a lot of those things are coming from China. And man, if you do if you see some of the documentaries of the things from China, trust me, you guys wouldn't even buy shit off the shelf no more. And I'll land my plane on that.
Wow, powerful. Okay. Thanks for that info, man. All right, Bobby Drake, what's cracking? What you got, man? Talk to me, man.
All I can do is chuckle. That's all I can do. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. I'm going to come with a slightly different take on this.
Okay.
One. Might surprise some people.
Go ahead.
AI really isn't what let me tell people what AI is, first off. AI is not actually going to really destroy anything. What AI is going to do is it's going to spur the countdown towards progress. That's what it's going to do. The problem is, the reason why that's so concerning is because a lot of people have made it their business, unfortunately, to not want to progress.
Okay.
So basically, this would be the case of the snowball rolling down the hill, and there's a little village at the base of the hill. Everybody sees the snowball coming, or you know what? Actually, I didn't have to make it some imaginary situation. We live in Florida, so we're well versed in the game about hurricanes. You know how hurricanes work.
Okay.
Everybody sees, all the meteorologists, Channel 10s, Channel 7s, the Weather Channel. Everyone sees them talking about this big old hurricane, such and such, that's out the Atlantic, and it's building up power. It's looking really nasty. It's about 2 weeks out. They keep on saying this is going to be a monster. This is going to be a mother lover.
Yeah.
Don't play with this one. Pack up your stuff. Make sure you evacuate. Next week comes, this looks like the mother of all storms. It's coming. It's going to destroy everything in its path. Get out the way. And you see everybody else, they're packing up the belongings, but you always got a steady cadre of people that's saying, well, I'm not leaving. I'm not evacuating. This is my home. I ain't going nowhere. I'm just going to stay right here. And they warn you, say, hey, look, man, Emergency services is going to be stretched.
Yeah.
If y'all leave, we can't guarantee that. Don't call 911. We have to keep the line clear. We cannot guarantee anybody is going to be able to respond to your emergency. Big deal. You know, I've lived through all the hurricanes. You know, it ain't going to do nothing to me. I'm going to get my Jack Daniels in one hand. I'm going to get my blunt in the other hand. And I'm going to get my Glorilla on plain old speed. We're going to have a good old hurricane party. All right. And sure enough, without fail, what happens when it finally gets real? Everybody want to try and leave the house and evacuate now. All the highways are clogged up with cars that should have been gone days ago.
Yeah.
Days ago. You had forever to have to leave. People still in the house. Hey, I need you to come quick. My storm shutters is bashing. The roof done caved in. I need. And don't get me wrong. I'm not making fun of anybody who's experienced these situations. I know people have been jammed by these storms, whatever. All the shit talking I'm doing, it's not clouding the people and circumstances, but it's clouding the mindset.
Yeah. Agreed.
If you made it your business, you know what? This is where I am. I'm going to die right here. It is what it is. Oh, well, I've had a good run. It's not for me, but I tip my hat. I respect it. But you literally wait till not even the 11th hour. You wait till a minute past midnight when everything's going crazy to realize, hey, we should do something. What AI is doing, I sat in. It's funny that you didn't even bring that up because about those videos, I will say the funny thing is I didn't realize until about half of the second video. Initially, because I saw those before, I didn't realize that those were AI necessarily. I wasn't paying attention to it like that.
A lot of people
until I saw the dude with the extra over the top fingers. And the sad part is, it wasn't even the fingernails that threw me off guard. It's because I saw he had like a 6 finger. I'm like, oh, I know this. So this is AI. But I was impressed at how those look because nowadays the way they design these camera phones and everything, if you've got a late model Galaxy, a late model iPhone.
Yeah,
that is the quality of the cameras they have now. Even the front facing ones. So especially how the ladies love to use their filters or whatever, it blends in. But the funny thing about this is, I saw the video. I sat in a little mini webinar talking about AI and was going into the differences between what AI is, artificial intelligence, what machine learning is, what data science is, and how they all relate to everything. And I was hearing about some of the things that they're doing, that they're working towards. And then I also was listening to a podcast where they had a CISO, a Chief Information Security Officer, basically think the head person of any company or corporation that manages information security and IT and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And he was talking about, they were discussing some of the news that's happened in the week, and there's been like a rise in these deep fakes, or basically people cloning or pretending to be somebody, a live person, but it's AI. And there's been an increase of people hacking and faking people, getting them to cause information breaches because they see these things and they going along with scams that they're pulling up and everything. And they're talking about how in some countries they're floating the idea about the getting to a point where we might have to start trademarking our faces now.
Wow.
Because if they steal your identity, even if it's not for that, they can steal your identity and use it for advertising purposes, videos like this. And there's nothing in place. There's no laws in place on the books to stop this from happening, from suing these places. So it might get to the point where you need to trademark your face just to get safe from all this. But the biggest issue where we're concerned is that they're basically putting out garbage, as you can see, ratchet content. But because, unfortunately, we do not make it a point to produce things of value in mass, we don't produce infrastructure, we don't produce businesses outside of fashion and clothing, at least not on par with that. Everything that we do, everything we specialize in, unfortunately, today is easily replicated.
Yeah.
You can, all the ratchet content, the twerking on the cars, everything we talked about, you can get AI to do that and profit off it and completely box Black people out because it's non-skilled labor. AI is going to make it where if you don't have skill, the thing that we used to specialize in, if you don't have it, you're replaced because we can do it cheaper for less without all the backbiting and talk. We don't got to break you off. So what we need to do is take this as the canary in the coal mine and use this as an incentive to actually build, leave the ratchetness behind, It should be that we can tell what's AI and what's not, because only AI is leading the way in ratchetness. Black people don't do that anymore. That's how it should be. But we'll see. Time will tell. The people that adjust, that have the standards, that have the knowledge, we're gonna be solid. We're gonna be good.
Yeah.
It's everybody else is gonna refuse to pull themselves up that's gonna get left behind. And you know
Well
what?
said.
This is good.
I have to disagree with you that it's good. It's not good. But I get your point. I get the point that you're speaking to. For some of those other people, it's good. But there's a lot that's not good about it.
Yeah,
there's a lot that's not. But the issue is there are always going to be casualties, unfortunately. And I'm not saying that's a good thing either. But again, we have the forewarning. We see the hurricane out. It's 2 weeks. It's just forming. We have the time.
Yeah.
There's really not a whole ton of excuse. Some of it, there's not a whole ton of excuse for more of us to not get out the way of this thing.
Good point. And you had a point real quick?
No, I was saying, it's not everything in life isn't going to be good, even if it's meant to be, as long as we have a system of white supremacy. Once that system is up, anything that can be used is going to be detrimental towards us anyways. So if we don't have a system of justice, then it's going to be fucked up towards us.
Yeah, facts. It's gonna get crazy, y'all. I'm telling you. But that right there blew my mind. You know what I'm saying? So let's move on. We got a couple of things we gotta talk about before we get to our main story. This was also very crazy to me. Check this out.
End him. That was the goal of a group of 10 and 11-year-old girls who surprised police say wanted to kill a boy at school. The motive? He's accused of cheating on one of them, so she wants him dead. The murder plot was simple. According to the police report, 4 fifth-grade students at Legacy Traditional School's West Surprise campus planned to lure a classmate to the charter school's outside bathroom and stab him in the stomach. And each girl had a role to play to get away with it. One would bring the knife. Another would forge a suicide note to make it seem like he took his own life. And someone would act as a lookout, while the other carried out the stabbing. And to avoid fingerprints on the murder weapon, they would wear gloves. Documents say the friends came up with the plan during lunch and recess on October 1st. Legacy administrators worked with the school resource officer to investigate when students who overheard the plot came forward. The next day, their backpacks were searched and the suspects were individually questioned with their parents present. All 4 children were then arrested for threatening and disorderly conduct misdemeanor charges. The police report says 3 of the students showed remorse, but the 4th would smile and laugh while making excuses for their actions.
So that blew my mind.
Wow.
That really, really blew my mind. 4 fifth-grade girls plotted to off this 5th-grade boy because he cheated on one of them. First of all, I mean, there's the obvious and then there's the obvious, right? First of all, why are 4 5th-grade girls in a relationship with a boy? You're 10 years old. And he cheated on you, and that was so egregious that you felt that you needed to kill him. You needed to off him. And you got 3 of your other female friends to agree with it. And y'all all developed this intricate plot to lure him somewhere. One person was going to bring the knife. One person was going to forge the suicide note. What? What are we talking about? And see, I called somebody that we both know out some time ago because, I would get into this whole thought culture, embrace of hoe culture, misandrous culture, and I really let her have it, talking about some of the people who she co-signs and some of the people who, she kind of buddies up to, in a personal way and in a celebrity manner. When you start talking about, you can't be out here co-signing Cardi B and Young Miami than talking about your progressive thinking woman. I'm sorry. It just, no, that ain't how it go. You understand? And it was something so telling to me. And, you know, she said, well, at least they ain't talking about killing. So because those people, because they're not rapping about killing, that means that, oh, you know, what they're doing ain't that serious. They just having a little fun. Don't judge them. We have to watch people like that, because what happens is, you know, you see very clearly, you know, you let these types of values or lack thereof, you let these things fester over time, and you got 10-year-old girls out here talking about how this little boy cheated on them and they gonna kill him. And while I'm at it, I would be remiss if I didn't refer to a song, because we talked about Glorilla earlier with the twerking on them headlights, right? Don't SZA got a song about Kill Bill? Don't she? Don't SZA got a song about killing the man who cheated? Oh, okay. But then they'll turn right around and tell you, oh, the music don't influence me.
There's a whole plethora. In fact, I think we can honestly say that at this point we have a whole genre itself that could be created and dedicated towards violent actions as a result of infidelity that women single-handedly could spear point.
Yes,
we've had some songs about dudes lashing out. We have, but there's no comparison to the sheer volume of songs that women have put out, and hit songs, mind you.
It's despicable, and they co-sign the shit, bro.
I bust the windows out your
car. Yeah, they co-sign it. They think it's the flyest shit ever, you know. And I mean, nobody calls this stuff out. And I say this all the time, and you know, this kind of tells me which sisters are really down and which ones are full of shit. Because, you know, a lot of sisters, every time y'all, you know, see something that's toxic out here, as long as the person got a pair of titties, y'all give it a pass. You understand? And we ain't with the bullshit. Like, everybody gets called out equally. And a lot of these people up here, these toxic ass people, these toxic ass celebrities, and the bile and the vicious toxin that they spew is infecting the minds of these young girls that got them like that. Not only that, it's poor parenting, you know, from a lot of y'all out there, if we keeping it a buck, because y'all talk about that type of shit, you know, and nigga cheat, I'm gonna kill his ass. Y'all say this shit all willy-nilly like it's cool. You understand? And then the kids pick it up. Then the shit that you have them watching on television that's not appropriate for children. I could go all day, you know, but this was particularly disturbing. You got these innocent babies out here devising these sinister plots to off somebody over nothing. My head exploded, bro. So what y'all got? Look on that for me, because man, y'all got to talk me off the ledge. God damn.
So like, people don't understand, like, when I used to do the shows, I never told you guys what it was about. You guys were just seeing the clips as it goes.
Yeah.
Right? We never talked about the clips at the time. That's one of the dope things that we provide here. We don't tell each other what we're going to present. Yeah. Now that Major's taken over that position, he doesn't tell us none of this stuff. We're getting it live, like how you guys are getting it. So I was over here looking. So when you see me look to the side, I'm Googling stuff through my phone. Yeah. And I was looking to see, because I didn't hear about that, but it disgusted me to know a sinister plot like that. And I'm like, damn, these children are already watching ID Channel and all these other shows that show, you know, murderous things, and they're getting ideas. Then they got access to Google and all this other stuff, depending on their household, who don't control what they access to, what they have access to. So I'm like, but you know, the average fifth graders is 10 to 11 years old. Right. So you're like 10, 11 years old, and they're talking about I've seen more organization in these children than I've seen in real life adults that I'm around. That's crazy, right? So I had to Google where the story is from, because this is the first time I'm hearing it. You brought it up. Yeah. And they're from Arizona, Surprise, right? Surprise, right? So in that, I looked at the demographics. The demographics, because the population is 160,000 people, the median age is 41 years, and the racial demographics is white, non-Hispanic, 66.9, Hispanic, Latino, 19.2, Asian, 2.6, African American, Black, 5.1, Native American, 1, and 5% other. So what's that telling me is these are white children. Even if they're Hispanic, because those are the two majority population, even they're Hispanic, they're still classified as white.
White people with tans, really good tans.
Yeah.
Well,
so when you look at it,
just the fact that they didn't mention their name, they're white. But go ahead.
Yeah. So when you look at that stuff and the way they were talking about downplaying it, right? And it just, every time you hear some kind of downplay in these children when they do horrible shit, it's not non-Black. So these are the type of things that go on in their neighborhood, in their society. And then you have people out here that don't understand how statistics work. See, it really is big on our end because we get caught. See, if you look at all the mass murderers that is in the white culture and the white population, I can't even name some of them white serial killers that went on for years killing white folks and then get caught, right? So when you look at them, if you don't get caught, it's not a statistic. So it goes under the realms of people being dead, but they don't get caught. And even if they get caught, they get slaps on the wrist or avoided out of the jail sentence. So their statistics don't build up over the time to make it really as horrible as their culture is. So when you see this type of stuff, it's alarming to know that we have this type of stuff being played out here. And what is more alarming is, see, women and young girls get to play victims even when they're villains, because this is a young boy who almost lost his life because he made a decision to walk away from a girl, and he probably made the right choice because he walked away from a young girl who had these toxic ass traits to line up a damn arsenal of Powerpuff Girl killers that was going to take his ass out going to the goddamn bathroom. So that type of stuff right there should be alarming to America. And for you guys to downplay a boy getting killed, because if it was 5 boys out here killing a girl, it would have been damn near in the international news right now.
Exactly. Boy, it would be a whole movement. Oh my man. There would be at least 19 different movements and organizations formed. We need to deal with the rampant misogyny coming from men. This culture of men. It would have been a whole man. Look, they would have had schools around the nation doing hold hands at the flagpole and everything, talking about how we need to, there'd be counselors going out talking, we need to talk to young boys to discuss the violence that they have going towards women. All that.
Yep. Facts.
I didn't hear about this until you brought it up.
That's why I had to bring it up, because
I'm probably never going to hear about it again. This will be a blink and you miss it moment. But I remember probably about this is what, 2025. I remember probably about 15 years, maybe a little longer. There was a story that made the news that I heard about, and it had several people's lids flipping and doing backflips. I know it definitely had mine doing that. And it was about some students, some 5th graders in a Louisiana elementary school that got caught in their class when the class out of lunch. I guess they snuck out or they were able to get left behind or whatever. So a pair of students, they were found having sex in the school. As a matter of fact, I think it might have been 2 girls, which made it even more wild. So not only having sex, but 2. Okay, so we have some extra wild layers. And I remember seeing that, and I was like, Jesus Christ, they're getting it in 5th grade now.
Yeah.
But I remember I had a thought like, you know what? It's going to be a whole lot worse things than this happening earlier. 15 years later, and I'm kicked in the teeth with this. But as always, I don't look at these babies because they are just that. Children that have barely even touched double digits, even that is not something that comes from within them. That's their environment.
Right.
And because they're girls, I'm pretty sure it's not going to be done, at least not as efficiently as it should, if they're boys. But I really hope against hope that social services got involved and they did a very thorough examination in that house to see what the environment is like.
Mm-hmm.
What music are the parents or the older siblings listening to here? What TV shows and movies are being played? What's the music that's being bumped? What are the conversations like?
Right.
Because I remember when I was in the classroom, I had some young girls in elementary school, some 3rd and 4th graders. And I remember I would hear some of them talk in between, whether it was at lunchtime or whether it was in the classroom, they got a minute or whatever to just socialize. I'm listening to them talk. And my ears are doing the cha-cha style, like, because this ain't no damn childhood conversation. They sound like they fell asleep with Bad Girls Club or Basketball Birds on or something, or Black Ink Crew or something on at night, and they woke up and that's what they were talking. I'm like, this is not how children talk.
Facts.
I'm wondering, why are these young girls speaking this way? I'm looking at the way they're coming into school, and they already they're not even in junior high yet. And the poor things, they already got damn extensions tugging their hair out of the roots. The foreheads are already receding. They're already developing conditions that they shouldn't be getting at that early age because they got hair pulling out their follicles or the roots because they're still growing, they're still developing.
Despicable.
I'm like, baby girl, you're supposed to have your hair in some damn barrettes. It's a damn scrunchie. You're supposed to be running around outside during PE, getting sweaty as possible, dirty as possible, having fun being children. Why is this adult ass nonsense that's silly for us? It's silly for adults, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Why is this being forced and stuffed in your chest this early?
Right.
But when I see this and when you speak out about it, there's nothing wrong with that. The adultification of children is not a victimless crime.
It's not.
These babies are the first victims, but please believe the rest of us are going to have to feel it sooner than later. Case in point. I wonder what these girls specifically, I'm not gonna let the other ones off the hook, but the girl who got cheated on, quote unquote,
yeah,
she was the mastermind behind this, and I'm sure she roped her friends in it. And I mean, the idea of murder and everything, these are children that in many cases still don't really probably understand death. So how much they probably understand, I'm not sure. But this little girl, she pulled it out the woodwork. And I wonder what conversations, what she's been witness to that gave her the idea to do this, that gave her even the seeds to even lay out a plan like this. But most importantly of all, gave her the entitlement to act on this.
Right.
I see this boy as property, or even if I don't, has some binding obligation to me. How dare you do me dirty? I'm going to lash out at you in this manner. That mindset to develop like that. Again, y'all gonna stop one day. And I really wish they're starting to do it now with firearms charges now. I need, when more of these situations happen, that these parents or these guardians, quote unquote, start getting held accountable, because unfortunately it won't be enough for these children to be hurt and get caught up and get records behind this for adults to do the right thing. It's going to be when their asses are on the fire, that's when things are going to change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And big
like
up,
earlier.
Go ahead and pull it up right quick, because Anubis, shout out to our brother Anubis TV. And also, when you get a chance, we'll drop the link later on. Our brother Anubis TV, he's out here trying to go ahead and put some proper, solid knowledge and some rectification out there. He's competing to go ahead and be a performing artist at the Global Citizen Festival. Make sure y'all go ahead and run up some votes for him. It's free. The first vote is free. You can vote daily. The first vote is free. Additional votes cost money, but if possible, it would be great, not just for him personally, for an accolade for him, but it'd be great if we can get someone that's solid, who has a righteous, proper mindset to be out there on that stage. Because like we're talking about, the idiots have the ears of the masses.
Mm-hmm.
Any opportunity we can take to get someone that has something to actually say, something of value, anytime we can get the opportunity to put someone like that down on Front Street, we need to do that.
Yeah.
But go ahead and pull up what brother Anubis TV just said. The last comment he said right there. It's because the parents are trying to be best friends with children instead of parents.
Yes.
And both pay more attention to social media than being a normal family. I'm about to get out my soapbox real quick. I saw a video last night, of this heroic young sister. Big ups to her. I think she might be 12 or 13 or 14 years old. She was out of the pool, saw her young sister was drowning. The baby jumped in the pool, had like a little life preserver on, and she jumped in the pool with it, but the thing flipped over. Coming up, that's happened to me when I was a teenager. That happened. It's very easy to do. Jumped in, the thing flipped her over, and so she probably could swim, but she's being held upside down by this thing trying to float. She was drowning. Soon as sister saw her, big sis, big ups to her, dove in that mug, pulled her out. They started working CPR on her and everything else. Cops came. She's okay now by the grace of God. Thank God.
Okay.
But of course, once we recover from the shot, the question is, well, how did this happen? Where's the parent who was responsible for it?
Right.
And I'll say it, the goofy mother out there at poolside.
Wow. Oh, we got such a long way to go, bro. We got such a long way to go. That's crazy. I see.
And she still was the first one in the pool when that happened. It took somebody else seeing the child to jump up in there and jump to action.
Yeah.
So I'll land right there. I think I would hope that says everything else that I need to say.
No, that's facts. And that's well said. We got too many people out here with the bird mentality, and that's just, at the end of the day, back in the days, man, if you compare today's women with the women back in the 60s and the 70s, it's a totally different animal. These women today are so preoccupied with being seen. She was probably on her social media posting some pics of her, with the camera in her face doing some duck lips or some other stupid shit like that. Our women today, unfortunately, are so unserious that it is to the detriment of the community. You understand? And that is one thing that the sister last week that we had on did say that I do give her some props for, that we have a lot of these women out here, unfortunately, that have been wounded, from childhood, and they carry these wounds into adulthood to the point where, like you just said, got this chicken head bird on her damn phone trying to be cute and trying to see, what reality TV show Trick is banging this week. You understand what I'm saying? And her kid is over there dying. You understand that? I mean, we got to get an air of seriousness about ourselves. And that actually is a great segue into this next topic, because this is very serious. This is actually the topic that really made me say, you know what? I'm going to do this show this week, because this was just terrifying to me. You know what I'm saying? These two, check this out real quick, man.
You keep running your mouth and beat your ass now. You did. Keep running your mouth. I told you sit back in the damn audience. Again, she don't talk, and I beat her ass. This is why I'm trying to get you. I'm finna get to the whole nitty gritty. She don't want me to tell the story. Nah, you don't beat my ass when I was pregnant. I hadn't even talked to nobody, bitch. Okay, so stop lying. This the type of bitch that get beat. Long story short. So, this is a nigga, like I said, I used to run with. This is a nigga used to call me, hey, big bro, I got this going on. You know what I'm saying? Hey, shit, bro, I'm on whatever you want. Long story short, the nigga was... You tried his beach. Say something. You tried his beach. Say something else in my life. Bitch, sit back and listen. Oh, you finna stab me? Sit back and listen. Oh, you finna stab me? He lied, though. If I get off the line, you ain't gonna make it out the door. And I'm gonna do it to you. Oh. So the best thing for you to do is shut the fuck up and listen to the lie. You need to stop lying. I'm telling the story, bitch. You lied, though. The fuck? But you're lying. I ain't lying about shit. You know how that she don't want me to tell it because she knows she's lying. Oh my kid, you lying. You talk to that nigga bitch. Okay, again, let me tell the story, bitch. Oh my kid, you try to lie. You try that nigga bitch. And you again. Bitch, trying to got all the screenshots. I'll be back, y'all. I swear you'll die. Dad, I gotta die about that. You told my shit. Damn, bitch. I gotta die if I tell what happened. Give me my phone. That's crazy, y'all. I ain't really gonna die behind this, all y'all won't know that T right now. Mark done got quiet. Where he at? He right here. He getting mad. He don't like the truth coming out.
So that's Zaria and Jamarcus Carr. And what's really sad about that video is that that's the last time that you're going to hear from either of them, because like he told her, you ain't gonna make it out this house. You don't get off this live, you ain't gonna make it out this house. Then he told her again, you're gonna die behind this. And she just kept talking. She kept talking. She kept talking. The whole time that he's talking, she just saying little slick shit back, and she da-da-da-da. I saw the whole live. It was long and drawn out and just crazy. You know, he got on live, started talking about how she was banging all these other dudes, and he found out, and, you know, she gave him herpes and da-da-da-da. And then she said she got on live, and she like, oh, she getting ready to expose him because he just exposed her. So she getting ready to expose him. She gonna one up him. And right a few seconds right there is where he ended the live, and you ain't hear from her ass no more. He ended her life right there. And then, you know, he went and he got in his car. He took her car, took her car, drove around, whatever. Police was looking for him. Police caught up to him, and they tried to talk to him, and they weren't successful. And he took his own life as well. And the thing that jumps out at me the most when I look at these two, because I went and I looked at that video, and the way they interact with each other is just horrific. You understand? It's horrific. The way he's talking to her, the way she's talking to him, you know, and I mean, like, it's just certain types of decorum was just out the window. You know, you keep talking shit, I'm gonna beat your ass, bitch. You know, like it did, you know, then she starts talking about how, you know, will you beat my ass when I was pregnant? And you know, and he's proud of the fact that he beat her ass when she was pregnant. And you're still with this nigga. You understand what I'm saying? She gave you herpes and went and banged your friend and all this, and you are still with this woman. What are we doing here? And I mean, you go back to their lives. They're a couple. They're both so-called influencers, and they do this type of shit online all the time. This has been normalized in their household, and this has been normalized in the community. The type of bullshit that they talking and the way they're behaving has been normalized in the community. That's why they feel comfortable going online doing it. But you see what happens when it goes too far, and somebody got something that they really want to hide, that they don't want to get out, and somebody feel like you hurt them a little too deep, you lose your life. And all of the signs were there from both of these lunatics. You understand what I'm saying? And I want to talk to people who are consistently and normalistically, I'm gonna make up a word, in these relationships with these toxic ass people, these mentally unstable people that you can see. Really, I mean, Stevie Wonder can see that this man is insane. This woman is insane, and they're just talking smack back and forth at each other. They keep taking jabs at each other, taking a jab, and you're not talking about little BS jabs. This man beat you while you were pregnant, and you didn't see that as a red flag or a reason you should leave? This woman gave you herpes and screwed a few of your friends, not just one. Talking about this, he screwed one of his boys and got his name tatted on her. And this supposed to be your wife? What? We have normalized insanity, bro. And this is how it ended in this particular instance. And I mean, it just drove me crazy. It was so sad because all I'm thinking about, even when I see other couples that are fucked up like that, all I think about are the kids. When I see Kim and Kanye, all I think about are the kids. You understand what I'm saying? When I see Will Smith and Jada, all I think about are the kids. You know, because these are their role models. These are the people they look up to. These are the people they've been with all their life. You understand? And if they've never taught you anything, then what do you have? These two aren't even going to be here to teach them anything. And the way in which they left this earth is traumatizing in and of itself. So how do those kids pick up from that? And more broadly speaking, how damaging is this to the community? was a travesty, bro. It was a travesty. It happened on live. Talk to me, man, because that one was heavy.
I really don't try to get too deep into these type of relationships because there was this shout out to this chick that I follow, very, very nice lady. I want to try to get her on here to show people how to start their business the real way as far as forms and all that. Yeah. And on her page, she had posted up, she replayed another person's video. Mm-hmm. And she kind of agreed with the video, but you know us, like we look at things different. So we're more in depth. And the lady came on there talking about she was apologizing explaining why she divorced her husband, right? And in the apology, she said, yeah, I know a lot of y'all women gonna sit back and say why I'm not blaming him and this and that. And I'm not gonna blame him. I'm gonna blame, it was me, this and that. And as she was going on, she was basically doing a backhanded blaming system through the explanation.
Yeah.
Meaning that she was saying that she would take fault for the relationship because she should have known better. She ignored the flags and everything like that. Mm-hmm. And in a way, the way she was giving off the apology, it was backhanded her husband at the same time. Mm-hmm. So I went on there and I said, I don't respect that. If you're going to apologize for your part without trying to make yourself like your partial blame, but more of a full blame, even though you're initially talking about the issue at hand. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I don't like that is because now you're giving all these people that's following, and this lady has a huge page. She has over 400 and something thousand followers. So you're giving everybody this notion that, you're accepting accountability, but you're only accepting partial accountability under the disguise as you're accepting full accountability. Because at the end of the day, you're telling these women that you had to grow in order for you to realize that he wasn't it. No, motherfucker, you were just as toxic as that motherfucker. Mm-hmm. What you started realizing is that when you started to be more healthy, then you start to see the red flags in him that you were actually in you as well. Because like I tell people, these are trauma bonding relationships.
Right.
And a lot of these trauma bonding relationships are very toxic and violent, and they don't end well. If you exit a toxic relationship that you trauma bond with and you make it out alive, thank God that you did, because many don't. And that's why you're seeing the results of what went on with the dude. He done escalated all the way left because two toxic people is going to elevate at each other to the point where somebody's going to go to jail and somebody's going to go into the ground. He didn't go to jail because he had to end his life, because if he didn't end his life, he was going to go to jail. And there's so many people that's out here toxically bonded and that's in these predicaments, and you leave yourself no room for you to understand what real healthy love is. And a lot of y'all jumping from bondage to bondage to bondage. Y'all are no better than the people that have Stockholm syndrome. So you got to make sure that you are healthy so you can attract healthy people. If you're constantly getting bad men and bad women, you got to look at yourself, because yourself is a magnet to what you're attracted to. So don't look at all the men out here. All these men ain't shit. All these women ain't shit. No, nigga, look in the mirror and say, I'm shit. Let me make sure that I'm not, for me to go back out there. And that is just a sad situation. I just pray that the families could be better. And like you said about the land my plane on this, what you said about the children is right. The children are the victim, because remember, if they can talk like that in front of each other, in front of the camera, imagine what they're saying behind the camera. Because a lot of that stuff he was dialing down and wasn't being too vulgar with it. And imagine the camera was on. He could have actually been beating her instead of holding himself back. Because like a lot of people don't understand that people are so absorbed with outsiders so much. This social media has grown another ego to people, because now they feel like they owe people this so-called internet fame. They owe people the explanation and everything like that. So now when you're doing this type of thing, it's now a massive group of being disrespectful. So now you know how you guys used to fight each other when you got disrespected in front of a group of people. Now you're fighting in front of millions of people. So now I got to show you, bitch. That's what he was saying. I got to show you, bitch. And I'm going to show you, bitch. And he let his ego cause the death of a woman and himself, all for nothing, and left behind beautiful children that are now parentless. And I'll land my plane on that.
Okay. That's what it is. All right. Yeah, that's it, man. I normally don't mess with those type of things either, or try not to, but the fact that they're so influential makes me have to chime in. Go ahead, Bobby Drake. What you got, pimping?
Low-level learners reproducing with low-level learners. Shout out to my brother Victor Van Zandt on that one. He hit that out the park when he said that.
Yeah.
There are no victims, just only willing participants. That's all. The people I feel sorry for in this situation are the children. As far as I'm concerned, both of those individuals were equally toxic, and they were actually a match made in hell. They were perfect for each other. And don't get it twisted, because I know a lot of people will try to go ahead and they have their own nefarious purposes, and they'll go and try to steer this in towards a conversation about misogyny and how men are violent towards women and everything, and how women are in safe relationships. But we're not going to play that game, and it very much is a game, because in this type of situation, she and this will get the whole victim blaming thing popping up, but she definitely helped to accelerate and exacerbate the situation.
Of course.
We talk all the time when it's a law enforcement situation where it's a person gets gunned down. People always want to talk about, well, why didn't they de-escalate the situation?
Right.
She did absolutely nothing to de-escalate the situation. Nothing whatsoever. And did she have to? No, she didn't. But she definitely helped things get to a fever pitch where eventually the air in the balloon had nowhere to go but out.
Right.
And I wholeheartedly believe that on that particular night, with that particular situation, he's the one that happened to shank her. But please believe she also had it in her to shank him as well. This could have gone either way.
Could have gone either way.
We flipped the coin and it happened to be tails today. It could have been heads the next day, given the situation, circumstances. And they were both abusive towards one another. He physically abused her. I'm sure she's hit him as well, too. But she also went and cheated with his friends. She violated emotional bonds and connections. And those can be just as damaging, if not more so, than physical bonds. Men and women alike have testified to that. So, again, there were no, in their relationship between the two of them, nobody else, there were no victims. They equally abused each other. Who started? We don't know, but at this point, it's like Tom and Jerry practically. Again, it just depends on the day. What I will say is that the art of conflict resolution is very much a life support.
Agreed.
Whatever you felt he was saying that was incorrect or was wrong, clearly you see where his headspace is at. This is not the time nor the place to get into it with him. And even if he didn't end up harming her in that moment or unaliving her, please believe she would have paid for it physically later on, when the cameras were off. In a situation like this, to the people that are halfway sane, your whole deal is to not go back and forth and to keep it going, but to get out.
Right.
But unfortunately, this is what it looks like when water meets its own level. I would not dare wish someone like him on a functional, healthy, proper, feminine woman.
Right.
And I definitely wouldn't wish her on a proper, healthy, functional, masculine man.
Right.
Wouldn't happen.
I wouldn't wish it on them. And those individuals would not find themselves dealing with those people because, again, water finds its own level.
Right.
But there's also oil and water. When you put oil and water together, it doesn't mix too well. A proper feminine woman sees a dude like him coming, that's automatically going to chafe her spirit, and she's going to go ahead and disengage. She's going to keep moving. A proper, healthy, functional man sees her coming. He don't want nothing to do with it, not even recreational purposes. It's gonna be like, you know what? Yeah, a lot of brothers, they see those kind of women, and those be the kind of women saying, you know, good man, there's only niggas like this out here. And the truth be told, as soon as those functional dudes see you, they put on their cloaking system and they go invisible.
Facts. Facts. We're gonna have a whole show about that. Yeah.
I can't count how many times I've seen women like her out and about. I don't make eye contact. Whatever business I gotta do, I do it. I get about. I don't rush, but please believe I don't stop for nothing. I got what I need. I'm gone. If I forgot something, I'll get it the next time I stop. I'm gone. I'm out of there. I don't want to be here any longer than I got to be. I wash my hands. I don't want to have to take a shower afterwards. I don't want to be there.
Yeah.
I know other brothers that have the same testimony. Where they at, we ain't.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it feels like no good dudes around, because when they see y'all, like, ooh, I got to. God damn, I left something in the oven.
We're gonna have a whole show about that. Yeah.
What's that? What's that, Timmy? Lastly felt well. I'll be right there, boy. Okay, so we got to understand that. But again, this is water finding its own level, and this was inevitable. This is why it behooves people to do the work and heal themselves so they don't become like this.
Yeah.
And they can attract healthy people, and so that they can also be healthy people, because there's no point getting a solid person and you're like this and you blow the relationship. There's no point. So do the work, and I'm going to go ahead and park my hover around.
Mm-hmm. Well said, brother. Look, at the end of the day, that's just what it is, man. And, you know, we have this, it's more prevalent in women, but it's also in men. Just this ideology where it's somehow cute when the other gender acts out. You know, some guys, I like a hood bitch. You know, it's more rare in men. But it's still bad. But women are just off the meat rack with it. You know what I'm saying? Where they always want them a pookie, you know, they want a bad boy, they want a thug, and it's like, how old are you? That's all I'm gonna say. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you can't see where this is leading at this point, we've had the last 30 years of this shit. Tupac been dead for how many years now? 96. I'm just saying, bro. When are we gonna grow up? Dude, I'm just saying. So that being said, you know, I challenge all of you, but sisters in particular, grow the fuck up, because all the signs are there and y'all ain't seeing them. And real quick before I get into the crown check.
Yeah, I just wanted to say a prime example of what you just talked about. Women are still out here picking the Pookies and Ray Rays over the quality men. And if you go watch Pop the Balloon or Find Love, episode number 61 that just dropped 4 days ago, you will see that they turned down the good dude, and the Pookie in that fucking lineup is what all the women was going for, and he was popping their balloons. So I just wanted to drop that gem on there and let people know. Also, real quick before you get into the crown check, I just wanted to let people know July 1st, 2025, there are new laws that's being in place. We are here in Florida, so I just want to just share this real quick before we go in there. You can carry a gun without a permit. We already know that. No cell phone use for school students between the ages of K and 8. So if you have children from K and 8 in those grade levels, no cell phone uses in school. Is going to be hefty fines and penalties for that. So let y'all parents know about that. Rental property can't charge over 3. We already know about that, 3 times the rent. There's something called the hazard law. Any student that goes to any school, no matter how far it is, if you're allowed to attend that school, they have to provide transportation for you to get there if you ask for it. All right, so keep that in mind. So if you are a parent that's out there and you have a good school that you enlist your child in, but you don't have any way to, it's a burden for you to drop them to school, the school will provide transportation for you by law. That was written in by DeSantis. Texting while driving is an automatic suspension of your license. I'm going to repeat that. Texting and driving is an automatic suspension of your license, not a warning, automatic suspension. So keep that in mind, July 1st. So all y'all out there that get your hands free, do what you got to do, but you will get caught. You will get penalized for that. All right. And that's all I have for y'all.
Extraordinary information. Thank you for that, sir. We appreciate you, Anthony Malcolm.
Okay.
That's what's up. So we're going to go ahead and finish off now with the crown check. You know, we love to give it up the love. We love to give up the love for the queens. And I want to make sure that I had this queen recognized this week because we like one sister told me, you know, we always talk about the astronauts and the astrophysicists, but you know, we don't shout out the round the way girls enough. So I want to shout this sister out. She's still extraordinary. Our good sister, Sanaa Lathan. Most of us know Sanaa Lathan because she's an actress. She's a bomb actress. You know, she's been in all types of movies. She's been in television shows. She's been all over the place. She's even been in commercials doing some modeling. But what they don't know, and what we don't know, a lot of us, about Sanaa Lathan is that she's a humanitarian and she does social justice work. She is a global ambassador for the International Medical Corps, and she has worked on the ground with an organization to provide various crises. Additionally, she founded the Sanaa Lathan Foundation, which focuses on empowering young women aging out of foster care. That's actually a really, really important issue because there's a lot of funky stuff that goes on in foster care. So I'm glad this sister's out there cooking in that capacity. And her activism also extends to advocating for diversity and representation in the entertainment industry. It says later on down here that, you know, she specializes in, you know, promoting Black knowledge. You know, a lot of times when they say somebody is championing diversity, it's everybody but Black people when a Black person is championing diversity. So she specifically champions Black knowledge. She's not out here talking about all this feminist stuff. You know, somebody had her, I read one of her interviews earlier. They tried to corner her and say, oh, you know, you take a lot of feminist roles, you know, is that who you are? And she kind of backed away from it in a real politically correct way. So I think she kind of sees the game in the programming, and I really, really respect that about her. And, you know, like they say, you know, she's really, really, in addition to the facts, you know, that she's out here kicking ass and taking names in the industry, she's out here doing some activism and some humanitarian work as well. And we want to shout out our sister. She's a phenomenal actress and a great person. I mean, anytime you see Sanaa Lathan, she's always, you know, full of life, you know, a very bubbly person. You know, even in interviews, she really pops. And she's a sister that I've always admired. She carries herself in a very regal manner. And I just want to shout her out. So respect and honor to her. And yeah, let's go ahead and give some quick shout outs real quick, and then we'll close out, man. And Malk, what you got?
Oh man, shout out to Sanaa Lathan. She used to be my crush till I found out her personality was shitty. And I found it through a lot of people that I knew personally. Okay. So that was years ago. So I'm glad to see. Sometimes people, you know, probably got the get feedback and then they change. So maybe I'm glad she definitely probably changed in the right direction. But she used to be my crush. I ain't gonna lie. I used to
a lot of guys, man.
Yeah, she was one of my top crush. So yeah, definitely shout out to her and everything that she's doing. Great show tonight. I do want to say shout out to Nas, you know, with all the bullshit that's going on with him and Jim Jones. Yeah. I want to personally shout Nas out because he has a immaculate deal going on with the Casino Resort World's NYC expansion project in Queens, New York. And he's a partner in that. And man, he has a commercial and he talks about, man, we building for us. So to see his empowerment growing, he's been a phenomenal businessman. And for him to grow like that, man, I just wanted to definitely give him his flowers. I saw that before we got on the show, and I just wanted to let people know about that. But that yes,
was like, go ahead.
No, definitely to him and Sanaa, you know, doing phenomenal things in the entertainment world and outside of it. So I land my plane on that.
Beautiful. That was like Ether Part 2, man, because you notice he didn't respond to Jim Jones. He just dropped that commercial. And it's like, bruh, I don't know what Jim Jones was trying to do. Everybody else was already dragging him, but that's like Ether Part 2. It's like, you don't have a comeback. Just shut up. At the end of the day, Nas is the kitchen. and Jim Jones is the stuff behind the fridge. Fuck out of here. You don't compare to Nas. You don't beat Nas in anything, corny nigga. Go ahead.
I think the subconscious ether was the second childhood, which everybody's playing, saying that Nas made that song years ago for him.
Maybe so. Maybe so. Yeah, he's a cornball. I don't like Jim Jones without comparing him to Nas. Jim Jones has never done anything for hip hop. Jim Jones is a crumb. Go ahead, Bobby Drake. What you got, man? Take us out of here real quick.
The plan was to knock me at the top of the game, but I overestimated the truth. It's all lame. I hold cannons that shoot balls of flame. Right, they fat mouth, then I carved my name. Nas, too real. Nas, true king. It's whoever you feel. Go ahead, you swing. Your arms too short to box with God. I don't kill soloists, only kill squads. Man, look. Jimothy Jones can't. Jimothy Jones is not worthy of carrying the GOAT's toenail clippings to the garbage can.
Facts.
He's not.
Oh God.
What are we talking about?
Oh my God. Yeah.
Unless we're talking about musical figures within the state of New York.
Mm-hmm.
And there should be no other reasons why Jim Jones, why Guillermo is mentioned in the same conversation as Nas.
Fuck out of here, man.
And even then, there needs to be a whole lot of commas in between. Look again, and I love how the people, the fans, the people have been roasting him. I don't know if you saw what happened to him on that Summer Jam stage, but
oh yeah. He's a crumb.
Broiled.
He's a crumb, dude.
Look,
what the fuck?
like I said, Nas ain't got to lift a finger, even know what's going on. His whole life and discography is the diss track against Jim. If you're not at a certain level, you can't even, bro.
He's not even in the conversation, bro. He's not.
Look, just whatever. Just stay in your lane, do what you do.
That's it.
Period.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Great show. Shout out to my my booth and the missus Sanaa Lathan. I'll see you at home later on, honey. You know, doing great things, great work, being of service, using her platform, using her reach to go ahead and benefit and be a blessing to others. And again, you know, the sad part is there are actually more people than we would think who are doing big things like this, whether it's the GOAT, whether it's Miss Lathan Drake. The problem is they're not out here lens chasing.
Mm-hmm.
They're not out here cartwheeling, swan diving into the limelight. They just got their sleeves rolled up and they're doing the work.
They're doing the work.
I'm too busy to stop for photo ops. I can't sign autographs every single time. I can't take pictures. I can't be on the red carpet all the time. I'm out here getting this work. There's a lot to do.
Yeah.
Ain't nearly enough people out here getting busy. So I got more work on my plate, but I'm doing what I can. They busy working and grinding. It's primarily the idiots that's out here always looking for, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me, trying to get the limelight. That's why they can afford to always be doing that. They ain't doing nothing.
Goody goo. Yeah.
When you schedule, when your Palm Pilot ain't got no appointments in it, of course you can always be in front of a lens.
Yeah.
You know? But it is what it is. I wish there's a way that we could get more shine on these people. This is a great way of doing it.
Yes.
But I wish there was a general sense, a way where we can do that and get that popping off, because you know, this whole concept of monetizing people for being idiots, for contributing styrofoam to the collective conscious. You know, we want to talk about how people want to talk about their fears about AI and everything. This is more damaging. AI is going to have its drawbacks, but this engine that we're creating, where you can be foolish and stupid and ignorant as hell, and we're subverting the natural laws, because if you look at the laws of survival of the fittest and evolution, anytime an organism is too stupid to not go against its own best interest, it deletes itself.
Yeah.
That's how the species continues, animal and human alike. When you're too goofy to make it, life will handle that on its own. The people that are able to will continue on. But when you have this engine where not only those people are able to continue, but they're able to thrive and even do better than people who are sane and solid, that is a recipe for society cannibalizing itself.
Yes, it is.
And we're seeing things like this. 5th graders hatching plans to unalive each other. Twerking on Jeeps and cars and stuff and unaliving themselves. Getting caught on bridges because you do it. We're seeing it happen in real time, and it's only going to get worse until we do something about this. So if we can't find a way to demonetize this, then those people that have means and influence, we're gonna have to find a way to start monetizing people doing solid stuff. We at least need a balance out here to counteract this because this ain't working.
Well said.
It's not working. We appreciate all of you all that clicked up with us again this week. Much love to all the folks that jumped in the chat. Anubis TV, they hating on you, brother. I'm going to go ahead and pull the plug for you right now. Go ahead and follow our man, support him in his endeavors to go ahead and grace the Global Culture Fest stage. Go to tophitmaker.org /2025/Mr. MISTAH-D-R-E-D, Mr. Dread.
Facts.
If that's too much, go to the site, tophitmaker.org. Look for his name. Bless him up. He's in 2nd place right now. Like Luda said, we need him in the #1 spot.
There it is.
So do that for the brother if it's not a crime. Once a day, we got 4 more days in the running. Make it happen.
Yeah.
Another great show. We're going to be here on the second half of the year, the first broadcast of the second half of the year, 3rd quarter of the year. Manifestations 2020. You see the text. It's not there for show. Please hit the like button.
Right.
Go ahead and do that. And also make sure you share and subscribe. We're talking about getting the positive stuff out there. You share, you subscribe, spread the word, and make sure you hit the bell icon to subscribe to our notifications so you will always be in the loop. 8:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be here. Big ups as always to the IG fam. Much love. Shout out to our Facebook people, our YouTube crew. We'll catch y'all next week, same time, same place. You know what I'm going to tell you. I got the Anthony Malcolm over here. Add the Major Gauge.
Yeah.
When we stir Bobby Drake in the pot, we got Manifestations 2020. We out.
Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up.
A place where we inform.
Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
You gotta eat what you kill. You gotta go out there. You gotta hunt for your meals.
We all have that ability to connect with people, to be that motivational person in somebody's life.
You gotta let people know there's certain lines you don't cross, and that there's gonna be consequences if you do.
Man up.
If you are an adult and you are in a relationship, that person's emotions are not your responsibility.
Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
The devil, during slavery, destroyed the masculinity or manhood of the so-called Negro. No man. No man. Right now you got to be trained all over again to be a man.
When someone is obligated to do something, it is binding upon them to do it. And failure to do it causes reaction.
Man up.
Position make you rich. I don't have that type of richness. My richness is life forever.
If that people knew that glorious pop, if that people knew that glorious pop, if that people knew that glorious pop, then they would be more inclined to respect themselves.
I'm not saying I'm going to rule the world or I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world. And that's our job, is to spark somebody else watching us.
A place where we inform, build, and
Man up.
inspire.
Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up.
A place where we inform.
Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and
Man up.
inspire.
You want to tell me about yourself? Go get your friends. I'll tell you who you are based on who your friends are.
Don't just live and die. That's an ugly existence. Make your life matter, make your life count. Live a life where people can actually mourn you for the things you left behind, not just because you were around and existed.
We need strong black nuclear family.
Yes. Yes.
That's what it is. Mother, father, son, daughter, all in the same house with a focus on the family unit as a whole.
We had Tulsa, Atlanta, New Jersey, Detroit. We had Rosewood. We had Black Wall Streets all over.
The Republicans aren't for us, but the Democrats aren't for us either. And we should have no alliance to any political party. We only have alliance to what is in our own best
A
interest.
place where we inform, build, and inspire.
Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up.
A place where we inform.
Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and
Man up.
inspire.
At the end of the day, as men in the community, we
Man
must
up.
stand together and be counted because people look to us for guidance, leadership,
Man
and
up.
protection. And if we are not about that business, we are not on our job.
Man up.
Here we have grown-ass man conversations in the spirit of that purpose.
Man up.
Anthony Malcolm, Bobby Drake, Major Gage.
Man up.
We are. This is Manifestations 2020.
Manifestations. Man up.